go back to this example. So we could ask the person to start making statements about how they're worthy. But a complete 100% contradiction, counteraction, might be too strong. They might just go,
I can't do
that. Oh yeah, I can't say that I'm a 100% wonderful person. Forget it, that's bullshit. You know, they can't believe it. So you could do a smaller one, you know, like 50%. Okay, like, well, I'm a pretty okay human being.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a basically good human being.
That's sympathetic.
I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
They might be able to
That's
say that.
big stuff.
Yeah, they might be able to say that. You want to get something that they can actually believe.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they're not going to discharge it. Just go, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm really a scum. You know? And you can also do something called an understatement, that where you just say a very small counteraction, like ridiculously small. So small it's funny. Like, there was once or twice in my life when I did something that was good.
So you can tell them to think about an event
Maybe.
when they felt good.
You could do that.
Just one.
You could say, remember one time when you felt like you were good, you were valuable.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a great counteraction to do. Or the understatement, you know. It's possible that there's a few times in my life that I had valued other people. Right? It's like so small that they go, oh, of course, you know. Of course that was true. And they'll laugh. You know, so, and then you can make it a little bigger.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, you know, how many times? Was it a few times? Yeah, well, I guess it was a few times, and there was this time and this time. So
it's important to see, I'm thinking in steps, whether this person can take baby steps, larger steps, or leaps.
right.
So that's part of in the
Yeah.
pay attention, the ID thing. Is
yes, is
figuring
identifying
out, is this person willing to,
how far.
how do we have to proceed?
Right.
Are we taking baby steps? Yeah.
Right, and you have to experiment, and your experiments may not work at first. You have to kind of play around with it and try different things, and that's okay. Let yourself try different things. So that's just using the words, right? What could we do that would change the body posture of that particular pattern I was looking at? It was like this.
Just haven't changed drastically. Stand up, sit
We could
back.
stand up.
Stand up.
Take a deep, sit up straight, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sit up straight.
Or you can do it yourself. and see if that inspires them.
You could, but you'd want to suggest it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
This
So
would
just
be,
being like, could you sit like a queen?
yeah. What?
Give her a little role play so she doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not her, but she can say, you know.
That would be a good thing. Like if you thought of yourself as a queen or
What would that
a
look
divine being, how would you sit?
Yes.
And
How would you talk? And
how would you talk? What could we do to change the voice
Mhm.
from that low monotone? What would it be?
Exaggerate it.
Make it louder?
Yeah, louder, say it with drama, kind of.
Yeah.
And how would a
Yeah.
queen act when somebody ignores her?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
You know, let her play that part.
Right.
Through the queen,
Yeah.
saying, you know, I
Uh-huh.
won't be ignored.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever.
So you can suggest, you know, how about if you sit up and take a deep breath and tell me in a strong voice, you know, there have been times in my life that I have created value. And try to, and they'll probably say it in kind of a mousy little voice, and then say that stronger. And you can keep coaching them to get it bigger and bigger. And when you get to enough of it, then the discharge starts happening. When you get enough counteraction. Do you understand that concept
Yeah.
Yeah.
a little better now?
Yeah.
When it gets to be enough so it balances the belief,
Yeah.
and there's enough on the other side
To push it over.
to push it over into releasing.
Mhm.
And they start getting they get a little perspective around the outside of the pattern.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's like, oh, maybe this pattern isn't reality.
Mhm.
Maybe it's just a belief
Mm-hmm.
that I've been believing because people told me that. And it was just a distress pattern. Oh, wow. And then it starts to crack and they discharge, like, about all the pain that it felt like having that distress pattern for all those years. And they might be angry, they might be sad, they might be scared. All the feelings might be there, and they might come in different waves at different times. You might start out crying and then get mad. It kind of unwinds in a natural flow. Yeah. And the other thing to know about directions is that many of them will work. There's no one right way to do it. So you can try something. If it doesn't work, try something else, and then you'll find something that works. Keep doing that one for a while. Keep doing it until it doesn't work anymore. And then something else will be needed, and move along and kind of follow the flow. But don't have a sense of like, oh, I have to do it right. I have to find the right direction. The one you make up right there is the best one. It's intuitive, and it's a very alive process. You could have them do the pattern more. Like you could say, oh, I'm noticing this like curled up and the monotone. Let's just do that more. Like, you know, really just get into it more and feel it, and you do it with them. And then sometimes they'll feel really supported by that.
Giving them permission.
Giving them permission to do it. That's a good thing to start with. It's just exaggerating what you see going on, and then after a little while of really exploring it and feeling more deeply into it, then doing attention away from distress directions. That would be attention toward distress, right?
Yeah.
You're going more into it, and exaggerating it, letting it become more. And that's very, very useful, because most of us have been told not to have the feeling, and we feel ashamed of the feeling, and we wish we didn't have the feeling. And
would you consider, sort of looking at the distress as a mirror, or working as in the distress as a mirror as a counselor? Basically, as a counselor, you're role playing this sort of shrunken, disempowered person, and then having that person sort of counsel you through opening up and lightening up. And
that actually does work at certain times. What you were talking about is taking over the role, taking over the distress pattern. It's one of the forms of role playing. You can take over the distress pattern and say, let me show you how this looks. I'm just going to be right in it. And sometimes that will pop the person out, and they'll start, you tell them, try to tell me what to do now. If you were me, what would you?
Let's switch roles.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
You tell me what
Sometimes
I need to do.
There's a lot of different things you can do with role playing, and we're going to talk about them more next week. Role playing is a universally useful way to work with things.